Don't make books in the early 2000s.
No,
it's too hard.
Well, that ruins what I was going to do 20 years ago. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Flux.
I'm Ben McKenzie.
Welcome to Pratchat, the monthly Terry Pratchett Book Club podcast.
Each month we discuss one of Terry Pratchett's books with a special guest.
This month we're reading Where's My Cow? A moving story of father and son.
And our guests are the hosts of our sibling podcast, The Truth Shall Make Ye Fret, Joanna Hagan and Francine Carrel. Welcome, Jo and Francine.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting us.
It's so nice to see you again.
It is nice to do a collaboration.
Coming in all the way from the past.
Yes, into the future.
Mm-hmm.
So soon after daylight savings changes as well. What even...
As time is a flat circle. What's time?
Let's not even go into it.
I assume that's what led to the confusion.
It's so weird because like it should be 10 hours, but it's never 10 hours. It's either 9 or 11.
Look, we had a 50-50 chance. See, this is the problem when you just remember things. You shouldn't remember things.
No, never.
You should just rely on outsourcing your brain to the computer.
Always.
I think we should blame Lobsang. It's his fault.
Yeah.
He's been contracting and stretching time, yes.
Yeah. Oh, so what did he give us extra hours for and where did he take them from?
Let's not ask.
Let's not, we don't want to know.
No.
Someone was having a good time somewhere. Wow, that flew. How are you both?
Pretty well, yeah.
Yep, we're good.
We've had a nice Saturday. We met up for coffee earlier.
Oh, very nice.
And now we're meeting up for coffee again.
But on the internet.
Yes, and at 10 o'clock at night, which is a terrible idea, but cheers.
Yeah, I should absolutely not have just downed a coffee.
I mean, it's a perfect time of night to discuss a book for very small children.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm hoping that reading through this picture book will make me want to sleep afterwards, you know? It's the long form version of reading a bedtime story.
Yeah, this is literally Francine's bedtime story. Don't get her excited about Dibbler, guys. I'll never get her off to sleep.
Okay.
Buglet. And so forth.
Okay, we won't do that.
How are you guys? Are you well?
Yeah, pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, I won't talk about this too much on the podcast. I have just moved house literally yesterday and the day before. But I'm here now in the new space and I'm recording a podcast, so things can't be too bad.
Yeah.
For those of you who can't see it, Ben's new space looks suspiciously like his old space, but without furniture. So before this, we were discussing whether he's actually moved or if he's just doing a really elaborate bit.
Just put a false moustache on the wall at the back, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a much shorter ceiling. That much I'm noticing. It's pretty much the same. I'm looking around the room now. I don't know why. I've been here before. I know
because you lived there for several years.
No. Stop this rumor.
It's a really fun conspiracy. We're going all in.
I've changed my address in several places. I don't want them thinking.
You know, the post office can redirect things.
Yeah. Although, actually, speaking of things from the post office, we got some very special mail from both the Discworld Emporium and Waterstones. We bought some of the fancy books. Oh. So I'm going to film a little unboxing when I open those boxes.
I say.
Because we've got the Dun Manifestin edition of the Ultimate Discworld.
Ooh, nice.
That is fancy.
That is very fancy.
That's a fancy book.
It's very fancy.
I'm excited to see.
I'm a little bit worried about whether or not they'll be intact, having seen some horror stories from some other people, but we'll see. We'll see how we go.
We'll make for a more exciting unboxing if it's on fire.
I do love it.
One of those horrible dramatic thumbnails of a hands on face screaming. That's engagement.
Yeah. It's a hook.
On the other hand, ruined book.
Yeah. But. And life admin to deal with it. Yeah.
Well, look, we have this. It's so lovely to have you as guests on the show. It's nice to do this collaboration. We thought this was going to be a bonus episode, so we came up with a special bonus episode hashtag, which was Make Ye Chat.
Yeah.
to try and get some questions about this book and just for us in general. Also, then things didn't quite work out that way. So now it's also just our 60-second episode of the show.
Which I have to say, I've been campaigning for an episode about this book since the beginning. I was like, initially as a joke, but I was like, it's a proper book on its own.
Like literally the beginning, listener.
Are you going to do World of Pooh?
Yeah.
Ooh, we'll do now.
No, I've got a copy. We can do it. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the World of Pooh.
So we'll do this one as number 1 and that one as number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, no, should have known. But no, literally from the beginning, because when we did our episode 0, we were like, what are we going to talk about for episode 0? We wanted to be short. And this was like, we should do Where's My Cow? It's a children's book. I'm like, yeah. But then I couldn't get a copy in time. Now we're doing it now, which is great to tie in with our Thud trilogy. If you haven't listened, we did an episode about Thud the board game. We've done an episode about Thud the book, which we will try not to spoil too much or talk about very much because I know you, Joe and Francine, have not read it or reread it.
Our podcast hasn't
for your
reached
show
it
yet. So thank you.
We have warned our listeners that this might spoil it a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Only a little. Yeah. Only a little bit. I mean, you're not far off though. How many, a few books away?
We have Amazing Morris next month. I think I was looking at the schedule for next year and we're spreading things out a bit. So I think we're hitting Thud at the end of next year. So we're a year away.
Oh, okay.
You've timed Amazing Morris well.
Joanna's spreading it out as much as possible, and I've just kind of agreed bit by bit, but I think she's trying to make it so I can never stop doing the podcast.
Yeah, no, I'll just be really sad. Because obviously, if we didn't have the podcast, we'd never see each other.
It's true, yeah.
Have you talked about what you'll do for the end of the show? Do you have a plan? Will you just stop? Will you do something else?
Don't know exactly. We've got the Long Earth somewhere in there. We don't know when.
We want to talk about Long Earth. We
might start something else entirely. Kind of depends where we are with like career and that Joanna's embarking on a whole new career. Ugh.
Yeah, but
whenever I try and talk about it seriously, she bursts into tears. So what can we do?
Yeah, no, let's not talk about that.
No. Oh, but that's right though. You're working on a book at the moment.
I am. I'm writing a book. I'm roughly halfway through writing a book. It's terrifying.
It's about Friends. Is that right? Am I remembering this right?
Friends and the golden age of American sitcoms. So it's kind of breaking apart Friends season by season, but looking at like the whole history of sitcom in that decade and why Friends is kind of the one that survived it.
How long has it taken you to write half of it, and when can I read it? I know it's a crime to ask.
Oh, yeah. So I signed the contract back in July, and my deadline is July next year, so it'll be out sometime after July next year.
Nice. All right. Well, I will put it in my eyes immediately.
So you can, infer from that Joanna is really quite sickeningly fast at writing.
Yeah, I was kind of like, what do you mean?
To be fair, I haven't had to do much else recently, and also there's no guarantee that this first draft is any good. I'm basically just throwing things at the wall. Yeah. It'll get good later. Yeah. I'm still at the point where
this first draft is good. I'm going to come to England and just sort of just weep in front of you.
Yeah, no, that's good. I love it when women do that. Especially if it's transcontinental. No, the draft is still at the phase where there are paragraphs that end in just square brackets, capital letters. This is shit, rewrite it.
Oh, yeah, what's the swearing rule on this one?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I should have checked that first.
Encourage.
Oh, no, totally, you can swear. That's fine. We're an Australian podcast.
Oh, yes, of course.
One doesn't like to assume.
All right, so let's talk about this children's book.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
should we talk about a children's book?
Veering back into PG.
We do read the blurb. I feel like I've got to read the whole back cover for this one because there is a blurb, but also there's some great reviews.
Which are also called blurbs, and one of which I think about most days.
It's very confusing. Is there not an industry-specific term to differentiate the bit on the back of the book that tells you what the book is about and the bit on the back of the book, which is what other people think about it?
Yeah, well, they're technically like author endorsements, but they still get called blurbs, which is ridiculous because we can have as many words as we want. Why would you have one word for two different things? But yeah.
Agreed.
Colloquially, they're called blurbs, even if it's just like a whip-smart tour de force through like the history of blah, which, you know.
I usually end up calling them testimonials, even though I know that's not correct.
It kind of is.
Well, I mean, blurbs is correct, but it's incorrect.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
all of us just quietly seething there. Okay.
Yeah. Be angry at the language for a minute.
I mean, it is a very stupid language that we have all I was going to say chosen to speak, but we didn't really choose that.
I did not opt in for this. There's no ground rules.
We choose every day not to take the vow of silence, which we should really commit to.
Yeah. We could stop speaking it. That's an available option to us.
It would make life interesting as a podcaster.
Yeah.
Well, my partner does listen to podcasts in Finnish sometimes, and that's quite fun to listen to because I know like maybe 3 words of Finnish, like literally just 3. So every now and then I'll hear a word and go, oh. And then the rest of the time I'm like, there's talking. I don't know what they're saying.
Cool.
Could be anything.
Is "ooh" one of the words?
No. Anyway, shall we read the blurb for Where's My Cow? Which is very pleasing. Look, I know that listeners can't see this, but I'm just going to hold it up. Do anyone have a physical copy? Or have some of you got a digital
Somewhere.
one?
I've got a digital one in front of me, which I managed to obtain. And then looking at all the illustrations, I was like, I own this book. I know I own this book. I've seen all this in depth so many times, but I don't know where. It might be my mum's house, so.
I thought I owned mine.
I might have questions about this later because, as I discovered, I have the US edition, which I think is identical, but you never know. All right. The blurb. This is a book about reading a book, which turns into a different book, but it all ends happily.
Spoilers.
Can't believe we just ruined that.
Yeah.
Wonderfully instructive, says Tuppence Swivel, The Times of Ankh-Morpork. And are we not all, in some way, looking for our cow? Which is the opinion of Brian Yeast from the Ankh-Morpork Literary Gazette and Paradigm Shifters Monthly.
I actually say that.
He's truly gone full brass eye for this one, hasn't he? That's Tuppence Swivel and Brian Yeast are fantastic names.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad that someone else knows what brass eye is. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes, those are very brass eye names.
Now, there's one I don't want to quote on a podcast.
No. Listen, if you are over the age of 18 and, no. Yeah. I won't recommend there's no blanket recommendation for it. It was a thing of its time and very clever, but maybe not revisitable. Anyway, we're not here to talk about brass eye. We're at the opposite end of the literary and entertainment spectrum as we talk about Where's My Cow.
That is how you define literature. It's either Where's My Cow or brass eye.
Yeah.
That is the spectrum.
That's our new spectrum. Oh, I love it. So it is a picture book, and for the benefit of the Traditional Make You Fret listeners who haven't got up to this book yet, it is a book that appears in the book Thud, for reasons that will become obvious as we go through what the plot of this is. But we'll try not to say too much more about it than that. It's not a serious spoiler for Thud, I don't think, as long as we don't mention anything apart from what happens in this book. But having said that, this is not the book that is in the book, if that makes sense. Yeah, because this book also has this book in it, or that book in it. Both of them have the Discworld version of Where's My Cow inside them. Although the really weird thing is that when you see Sam Vimes, who is in this book because he reads it to his son, young Sam, when he's taking it off the shelf, it looks exactly the same as the one that you are currently holding, including the fact that it says it was written by Terry Pratchett
and illustrated by Melvin Grant,
and the sticker.
It's very weird.
It is Inception, basically.
The fourth wall's smashing all over the place.
You can even see the blurb on the back of it.
Yeah. And yeah, it's got that sticker on the front, which I should say, it looks like one of those,
Carnegie.
Children's Book Award medallions, like a Carnegie. What's the Australian one, Liz? What's the one we have?
I should know that, but I don't.
There's a Scholastic one. I think there used to be.
No, because we used to have inky ones as well, but that's gone now too.
This is where I'm showing my age. This is the book award that I'm remembering didn't exist by the time Liz was reading kids' books. But yeah, that one says the winner of the Ankh-Morpork Librarians Award, or children's winner, and it's got Ook written on it with a couple of bananas, which is quite nice.
Clearly a very distinguished award.
And it is described on the cover. It says, Where's My Cow? And then underneath it says, a Discworld picture book for people of all sizes, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to let you in on the secret. It's not just for kids, this.
No. I do quite like that he's effectively given himself and his book a children's award, considering, like, if you read Rob's book, he was really quite resentful of being put up for awards. He wasn't definitely going to win.
Yeah.
I guess he feels like a fake one is fine.
Yeah. Well, he was definitely going to win this one unless he had some kind of terrible existential crisis.
That's true.
But it's also like, again, it's his thing of ribbing on the whole system as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
had he won any of the children's book awards? Because he won the one
he would have won by this point.
He won the one for Amazing Morris, yeah. That was the one I think where he took a bite out of the medal.
Yeah, they prearranged something with a chocolate coin.
That's right, the chocolate coin for the medal. That was so good. Sorry, listener, if you're wondering what the hell we're talking about, these are stories from the official biography, which has bits of notes from the autobiography that wasn't finished, which is A Life with Footnotes, which we will talk about. You've talked about it already with Mark Burrows, author of the other biography.
Yeah, we thought we'd get a biographer on to talk about it.
Yeah.
Genius.
Absolutely.
But this book, unlike the biography, is a picture book, so it's got illustrations.
What a segue.
But not by either of the regular Discworld illustrators. They're by this guy, Melvin Grant.
Yeah.
Have we seen his art before?
Not that I recall.
He's not done any other Discworld. What's it?
No, he hasn't.
He certainly loves drawing a juicy behind, doesn't he?
I had a quick look at his website earlier and choices were made for that website.
Oh, yeah. Have you looked at his website?
No, but can I open it at work? Is that...
No, absolutely. Do.
Okay.
It's just melgrant.com. melgrant.com. It is beautiful.
Is he primarily a children's illustrator? Because like some of the pictures on his website is like he's got monsters.
I think he does quite a lot of fantasy.
No, I think he's well known for his Iron Maiden artwork, apparently. And he does just general fantasy. There's one gallery here called Erotic Fantasy, which isn't like it's fine.
It's safer work.
It's nothing compared to what you see on Twitter.
Right.
Sure.
Good, because I do like to be able to open a folder called Erotic Fantasy in my workplace and know that it's not going to be weird.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Don't worry, it's only semi-erotic, boss.
I'm not sure semi's the one. No, I'm going to stop there. That was a terrible joke.
No, but I enjoyed it.
Good.
But yes, this is the person who's illustrated this picture book for children. But I have to say, beautifully. I love these illustrations.
They are lovely.
Yeah.
And the first one on the title page is Sam Vimes sitting on a seat with young Sam, who is tight, like I think a little too small. I don't think they've got the proportions of what a baby old enough to be read books should look like. Like he must be nearly a year old.
And he can stand.
It's the proportions, because they've made his head almost proportional to his body, like a bigger person, an older child rather.
Oh, like an adult.
But they've made him small. It's like they've shrunk an older child.
I'm just going to say I find him frightening.
Yeah, it's a bit haunting.
But I'm not very maternal, is it?
He's got the weird center part.
He's like a baby that has the motion of a toddler, but also the proportions of an adult and also the haircut of a prison guard.
He does have the curl. He's got the same curl as his dad,
that
which
is
a
quite
nice
cute.
touch.
It's in the middle of his forehead.
Yeah, but like who's cutting his hair to have like shaved at this? Like who's doing the reverse friar tuck on him?
Oh, yeah.
Sybil.
But why? Because I would have thought she'd try and get him to have the same sort of haircut as Sam, because that'd be like cute.
But I bet she tries to do it herself and she's not very good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like her knitting.
And her darning.
Yeah.
Like she means well.
That's a haircut that's been gone up a centimetre at a time as she tries to even it out. That's what's happened there.
Headcanon. All right.
I reckon
I'm into it.
It's relatable on why I ended up with a shaved head in lockdown.
Proper headcanon.
Or like a bowl that's not the right size.
Yeah.
Like it started to kind of slip off a bit and then you're trying to tilt it back the other way.
The plate.
I love it.
I had some interesting fringes as a toddler.
I had very curly hair when I was, I still do, but it was really intensely curly. I don't even know if I think they just sort of cut the edges off the curls and it was fine back then.
Pruned it like topiary.
Yeah, like a bush.
I also had very curly hair as a child and they did that to me. It was just like, let's just get rid of the worst of it and then hope for the best.
Just leave it there. Everyone thinks they're cute. While we're on this page, and speaking of haircuts, we should also talk about Sam Vimes in this book because he's wearing a watch uniform. And as Pratchat has said online, like he always imagines Sam Vimes as like a young Pete Postlethwaite. That is exactly what he looks like in this book.
Yep.
Which I think is amazing.
I think that must have been the brief.
Yeah.
For this one, I reckon. Or maybe he'd already said it by that point and Melvin Grant was able to
pull that in.
Work from that. But yeah. It definitely.
Yeah, I think he had said that. Pete Postlethwaite was still alive when this book came out. So
how weird for him.
I wonder if he ever saw it and what he thought of it. If he saw it.
It's not on the cover, so he'd have to have his attention drawn to or already be a Terry Pratchett fan who gets this book and then is like, oh, it me.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him being a Terry Pratchett fan.
Yeah, I'd believe it.
I mean, not that I know much about what he was like. I just really enjoyed him as a performer.
Yeah, you don't have to know what he's like. You can just imagine it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead. Who's going to argue?
If you want to imagine him being a Terry Pratchett fan, no one's going to stop you.
Yeah. It's your brain.
Great.
Who's going to know?
Great.
Everyone.
Oh, shit. No, yeah, we're talking about... Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Got to get used to that.
It's like that tweet that went around. It's like, you can just imagine a cow spinning in your head at any time. No one can stop you. It's free.
Why would you...
It is true.
It's my favourite.
Why wouldn't you?
So why would you make me do that when I'm supposed to be focusing on this book? The end of that sentence.
Well, now you know where your cow is.
Problem solved.
You've always got your cow in some way.
I'm helping.
We're all searching for the cow inside. I mean, also there's a dragon under the seat, which is something. This is not a spoiler for Thud, but this is something mentioned in Thud.
Yeah.
There's a dragon, like a swamp dragon, that likes to sleep under his bed, and they mention it, and then it never gets mentioned again. Which was a shame because I was really hoping that dragon would come back.
I thought there was a subplot that got cut out. That's my personal theory.
Yeah.
I like that theory.
But I'm glad to see the dragon here.
It's a nice detail.
I could even take a little guess at what the subplot might have been, but obviously I won't on this one.
To get back to Sam Senior, he's wearing sort of the under uniform because like in some of the other scenes you can see there's a breastplate and a helmet kind of and stuff like that, but he's not wearing that. He's still just he's taken the armor off and he's just wearing a very brown uniform of the Ankh-Morpork City Watch.
A very like softened edges.
That's probably quite good camouflage.
It's like it's a metaphor in some way. Like he comes home and he takes his armor off.
Yeah.
But not just literally.
Yeah. Takes off the armor inside.
Also, they've got these sort of leather, like I assume they're leather, like pleats or strips like hanging down in a skirt. Like kind of, if you imagine Xena warrior princess's skirt.
You can picture Xena spinning around in your head. No one can stop you.
They better not. It's kind of like that. It's like a skirt, but it's like, I don't know what the technical term for that is.
Kilt? We were talking about this yesterday, weirdly enough, Joanna and I, because of Cohen described as wearing a kilt and
he was wearing a tiny leather kilt.
Troll, whatever. Yeah.
Trollbridge.
Yeah.
Trollbridge.
Well, in some of the illustrations in this, it looks like it's pleats, but in other ones, it looks like it's these sort of the individual straps, and then they've got a couple of metal studs on them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what practical purpose it serves, but
I've seen that kind of costume in other fantasy sort of illustrations, but I don't know what it's called. If you're an expert in medieval armor. But anyway, that's what he's wearing.
Could be uncomfortable to sit on those metal studs, I think. So I hope they're easy to flip up behind.
But you could, flip up and sit down.
Like tails, Yeah,
because he's got trousers on underneath them.
No, it's still pressed through. Clear. Like he doesn't go, as I talked about earlier, and I'm sorry I'm going to keep coming back to this, the illustrator doesn't shy away from drawing a round butt. So if he thought that Vimes had one, he would have illustrated. He's got a flat one, and those would definitely dig in. This is not where I just know my notes.
Well, that's true, but I'm imagining it's kind of like a tailcoat. When you sit down at piano, you sort of flick it behind the seat.
But they don't have like studs in them, so if you sat on them, they'd hurt you. But if you can flip them up, then it's fine.
Yeah.
I think we'll move on from the skirt. I just want people to get a picture because we don't see this much detail of the regular watch uniform. Certainly not without the sort of breastplate and the helmet on, and it is a slightly different look for it. I mean, the basic pieces are kind of the same, and I think that's because they keep getting mentioned in the books, so you kind of got to stick to the description. But
Can I one more thing on the skirt? Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
How I think it works is that there's thick leather like straps hanging down with the metal bolts on them, and then in between are like triangles of like a thinner, more flexible leather that go behind that are possibly bolted in place by the metal bolts, because then you still have movement.
Yeah.
Of the thing, but then also the protection. If someone like jabs you with a sword, having even like a flimsy leather would potentially deflect it off a little bit or stop it from jabbing all the way through, because there are a lot of major blood vessels in that area, so it would make sense to try and protect that.
Just one extra layer. Yep, I see that.
Yeah, so that's my theory on how that works.
I support that theory.
Okay.
Yeah, or even possible like chainmail in between to make it sort of delicate thing so you can still move, but a layer behind of plate.
cool.
All right, that's my skirt there.
And this is, it's what in Dungeons and Dragons terms you would call studded leather.
Yes.
Which in real life wasn't just leather with metal studs on it. Like the studs, if they were there, had a purpose. So I like your explanation a lot.
Yeah, they were effectively riveting for holding things together.
Yeah.
So the unstudded leather is basically falling apart armor. That's good to know.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we go for the troll hide, Francine.
Not in this universe, Joanna.
Oh yeah, no, God, sorry. We've been playing Valheim. We mean those trolls, not Discworld trolls.
Oh, okay. Right. Phew. Because there's a great picture of a troll we're going to get to. We should get into the story.
Yes.
It's very simple. There's not much to say. We can talk about each 2-page spread, I guess, because it's very short. It's a children's picture book. But the first one is a shot of... is this Vimes on this first 2-page spread where the story starts in the front?
I think so, because they have one later, but I can't recognize him when later they're like, to spoil the book. He's like, that's my daddy. And I'm like, is it? I can't quite tell. So, yeah.
Well, he's got the helmet on very low, like it's sitting right above his eyes. He's in sort of this dimly lit, looks like it must be like a dwarf basement, because it's not very tall. Like the 2 human watchmen are like crouched down, and there's some dwarfs looking at each other angrily like they're about to start something, which is beautiful. I love these dwarfs. They're so cool.
One in the background's just quaffing. Yeah. Well, he's chugging.
He's like, oh, there's going to be a fight. Better finish my beer.
Finish it before you spill it.
No one's going to hold my beer except for my stomach.
Yeah, I think it's Vimes because they've like lit his face in a
hero way, protagonist.
Focus on this kind of way, haven't they? Yeah.
He has kind of defaulted to showing that these are 2 separate groups of dwarfs by drawing the ones on the left all have ginger beards. The ones on the right all have brown beards.
The natural dichotomy of any group, of course.
Yeah, ginger and less ginger.
So I will all be fighting Ben at the end of this episode.
It does correlate with my life, I was going to say, yes. This page establishes that no matter what Sam is doing, he's got to be home at 6 o'clock to read to young Sam, who's 1 year old. Again, I don't think this kid looks 1 year old because some things are important.
He looks every age.
He's every age. And I do like that superimposed on this picture in the corner, like kind of glowing so we can tell she's not literally there, is Sybil giving young Sam a bath while Dribble the dragon pokes his face into the bubbles. He's very protective. I love this little dragon.
I'm a big fan of the dragon.
Yeah, he's definitely a little terrier dragon, isn't he?
What do we think about this illustration of Sybil? She only appears a couple of times in the book.
Not how I pictured her.
No?
She looks kind of like Vimes in a wig in this to me.
There is definitely a bit of that.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
There's a hint of like...
I like it though.
Panto dame to it.
Yeah, and it's partly the hair as well, like, which is huge. I mean, we know that she wears wigs, she can have whatever kind of hair she wants, but it's massive.
Yeah, I think I like it, but it's not how I would have pictured it either.
Yeah, it's definitely not how I imagine Sybil. I would wear that dress though.
It's stunning. It's cool. I love the sleeve detail.
Yeah, I need to figure out if I can do that.
Yeah,
you absolutely could.
I feel like this is like Sybil's dressing down for bath time as well. Like, like her normal outfits would be even more fancy than this.
Or like a mix of fancy.
A mix of fancy.
Oh no, I'm getting her confused with the Diana Wynne Jones character, where like people are so hectic they wear like a fancy blouse and a threadbare skirt because, it's just, you're too busy doing your thing.
But then Sybil is also quite often in large Wellington boots and very dragon burnt clothes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And protective leathers and whatever protects you from dragon flame, which would probably be something stronger than leather, I assume. Well, it's nice to see her at the start of the book. We'll see her again.
Spoilers.
Slight spoiler. But then the next page is in young Sam's nursery, where Sam Sr. is taking the book off the shelf. And I think one of the best things about this book is in nearly every picture, Sam Vimes is looking really happy.
Yeah.
He's having a good time. Yeah. Which never happens in any of the Watch books. He's always having the worst time.
Yeah. He is, isn't he? You never get to see him just have a nice day. Sam Vimes' nice day.
Yeah. You've done The Fifth Elephant. Yeah, that would be the most recent Watch book you've read. And he has the absolute worst time. Like, he nearly gets killed by werewolves. He falls off a waterfall. He nearly freezes to death.
He has to wear the gloomy and purposeless trousers of Uncle Vanya.
Oh, God, yes, those trousers.
I'd be so fed up.
There's no gloomy and purposeless trousers here.
No, just a kilt.
No, we've explained the purpose.
Yeah.
And then he has to fight a werewolf right at the end. It's bad.
Yeah.
I love how everyone's so excited that he's here as well. Like all of the toys are even standing to attention, except for the spooky one in the bottom left-hand corner.
Oh yeah, don't like that. Don't like that. That's not the most scary character in this book. I think when we get there, we'll all know where we are.
Oh, that roly-poly doll.
Yeah.
He looks like...
Yes. But the scariest one's a little bit later.
He's one of those ones with like a round bottom that he'd like push.
Weeble wobble.
And he'd like sort of fall over and then...
Weebles wobble, but they can't fall down.
I got one from my cat and he was so frightened of it, he slowly pushed it behind a curtain and we never saw it again.
Wow.
I was like, this cost $30, guy. Come on. I thought you'd love it.
Asimov. Got very particular tastes. Yeah, but I do like there's a stuffed toy swamp dragon who's gazing up at the book as it's coming off the shelf. And young Sam's basically like throwing his arms out like, yeah! What is with those sleeves though that he's got on with the weird pleats?
Medieval garb. No, it's like it's a look.
Everything about this particular illustration of young Sam is mildly haunting, to be fair.
Yeah. The way his mouth is up, just the eyes, it's just scary.
I don't think a 1-year-old should be standing on the bed like that.
No.
Nor wearing like work shoes. Like, where's he been? Where's he going?
The mines.
Move.
Are they work shoes?
They look a bit work booty.
They look like little booties to me to keep his feet warm.
He shouldn't be wearing shoes at all. He's a baby.
And he's on a bed.
Yeah, he shouldn't be wearing shoes in the house at all, but you know.
He also looks like he's had an eyebrow wax and kind of needs some anti-aging cream for the crow's feet.
It's a big day of just threading.
That bit is accurate. Like, some babies do look like tiny old people.
They do. A lot of them look like Winston Churchill.
There's also what looks like a live mouse.
Yeah.
I support the mouse.
Yeah.
I support the mouse's right to be a part of this.
Yeah, the mouse is great.
So wholesome looking. It's like just quietly expecting his 6 p.m. reading of the book.
Yeah. And it's that nice pink paint that you get in some of these old Tudor houses, and you got the nice beams on them. Yeah.
There's 2 paintings on the wall that don't have anything in them, though. It's a bit weird. Yeah. Particularly when we get to the painting that you see on the wall at the end of the book. But otherwise, it's quite a jolly scene.
Yeah. Very sweet.
They explain that it was the most chewed book in the world.
Yeah, and they've got chew details.
About someone who's lost their cow.
Like on the covers.
The copy is chewed. It's got some lumps taken out of it.
Have you guys chewed your physical copies for accuracy?
Oh, I haven't. I should have pre-chewed it for the podcast. At this point in this bizarrely visual episode of our audio-only podcast, Jo pretended to nibble on her copy of Where's My Cow?
It's a new one.
How did it taste?
You got a new one?
Yeah, can you taste test that for us, please, Joanna?
Yeah, it's important.
I feel like I need to take a stand against not licking books on the podcast. I genuinely was about to say no because I've got a cold and I don't want to pass it on, and then realised that we were talking about a book.
Yeah, it's okay. You could just say no because that's a weird thing to ask. That's fine.
Oh no, creepy guy's in the next picture too.
What creepy guy?
By creepy guy, do you mean the baby?
Well, yes, but also the roly-poly guy.
Oh, yeah.
The baby is less creepy in the next one and also a different size.
Yeah, much smaller.
Yeah.
It's true. But I do like that from this point on, once we get into the version of the story that exists in the book, in the Discworld universe, there's this separate style of illustration that is very children's, like really simple children's book sort of stuff. But it's so cute. It's gorgeous.
It is, yeah. I'd love an entire book like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, and there's 2 mice.
He's done such a good job with the palette that even though it's 2 completely separate styles, like it looks cohesive.
Yeah, that's not like doesn't look horribly jarring.
It's just a nice page, yeah.
Yeah, and they've sort of put the text, which is sort of the framing narrative, outside the frame of what the actual book looks like as well. Yeah. So it's just really well put together and really lovely design.
Yeah.
And then they've superimposed the picture in the established style of outside the book of Sam reading, which is nice. And again, there's so many times we see the whole book in this.
Yeah, he really likes the book, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. That would have been annoying because they would have had to save that until the end. You would have had to leave that blank and go back and fill it in with how the cover was eventually laid out.
Yeah, what came first, the cover design or the cover design?
Maybe the latter. But I'm pretty sure. Well, this is 2005 by now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So at least we're a few years on from The Last Hero, and so Photoshop won't take an entire afternoon to make a little edition anymore. It's still not fast. I was using Photoshop by this point. But yeah.
No, and they might even be using something more appropriate
Oh, that's true. He's an actual digital artist, so he probably had the proper tools, yeah.
But maybe they intended to do that with the paintings in the bedroom, and then they're like, nah, we can just leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about that in our last Hero episode, but just in case you didn't know, listener, they did that in a whole book. They laid it out in Photoshop, which is why every edition has the exact same layout. They've never redone it or renumbered the pages because they can't.
No.
They did it in Photoshop.
These were huge canvases scanned in.
In what year was it? 2002, I think?
Yeah, something
That's
like
bold.
That, yeah.
It's like when someone sends you a thing in PDF so that you can't edit them. I'm like, haha, I can copy your words into a Word document. Nice try.
Yeah. I've got Adobe Acrobat Pro on my work computer, and I'm all powerful. I'm like the only one in the office with it as well. I'm like, oh yes, of course I'll edit this PDF.
Whoa,
Ooh,
that is serious.
Oh yeah, no, with The Last Hero, Rob was literally driving back and forth to Paul Kidby's, like driving 200 miles a day to get these illustrations together and then typeset it.
Yeah.
And then they had to take them somewhere else to get them scanned in because they needed to find someone with a massive scanner.
Yep.
Yeah. Insane. Don't make books in the early 2000s.
No,
it's too hard.
Well, that ruins what I was going to do 20 years ago.
Even if I get time travel under my belt, yeah.
The next few pages, they're the book. Yeah. It's Sam reading the book. And if you're not familiar, listener, Where's My Cow is that classic. And I remember there was a book that got read to me when I was a kid. It was very similar. I think it was like called Where's My Mummy? And it was like a little puppy or a little duck looking for their mum. And it was very similar. Every page is like an illustration of some sort of animal, often with some sort of detail that makes it look a bit more like a cow. And it says, where's my cow? Is that my cow? It goes, insert appropriate animal noise. It is a different animal. That's not my cow. And it's like that repetitive nature.
Yeah.
With a different animal each time. And it's very charming and silly.
But also, as a nice detail, like in the first few pages, there are just mice in the background. So it makes sense. That's why there's two mice on his shoulder are so invested in the story, because they've got like their own mouse subplot happening in the book.
Where are the background mice?
That's
Where
true.
Are they?
First one, they're on his shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
There's a tortoise on the first one.
I was about to say, I just noticed the tortoise.
Yay.
But then, where there's the horse, there's a mouse or a rat there. And then there's another one where there's the pig.
And then they disappear.
And the other part of these pages where he's reading the book is the amazing facial expressions of Sam Vimes as he does the animal noises.
My favourite is him doing the pig. And that's his favourite one to make. So that's good.
And he's having a nice time. It's just so good.
It's just nice to see Vimes having such a nice day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then as you get to the next section, you get to the next couple of pages where there's a chicken and then there's the hippopotamus, which of course is in there because it's the animal of Ankh-Morpork.
Ah, yes.
I mean, it's still weird though, because if I imagine the kind of, like, if you wrote one in the UK, you wouldn't include like a lion and a unicorn.
You might.
Just because they're on the coat of arms.
Probably not.
Would you?
Yeah, I don't know. For kids' books, like, you just put in whatever, don't you?
What makes the fun noises?
Yeah, you can just throw a hippopotamus at it. No one's going to argue.
Yeah, the kid doesn't go, sorry, Dad, thematically, why is there a jungle animal in with all these barnyard animals? Isn't it going to eat them?
You say, well, actually, child of mine, little pedant, some time ago, in prehistoric days, lions did roam this town. And they might do again if you don't shut up. I'm not a parent, and it's just as well.
They didn't here. Although we had an equivalent. There was an equivalent animal in Australia.
Oh, yeah?
Thylacoleo carnifex, the marsupial lion. It didn't really look like a lion. I researched it once for a thing I was writing, and they're great. Like, they're sort of reconstruction of their face. If you imagine a koala bear, but much bigger, with massive fangs and huge, like, claws, because it was a carnivore, you're like, okay. It looks like a drop bear, like a real life drop bear. And their theory is they did climb trees and they could stand up on their hind legs so they could slash you with their claws.
It's like one of those really aggressive ground sloths, yeah. Ugh.
What do you mean aggressive ground sloths?
They're another extinct species.
Okay.
Yeah, no, where they're not creeping up on you now, Liz.
Some time ago.
They're everywhere. Can't escape.
Like that really aggressive ground sloth right behind you.
Yeah, a bunch of the Australian megafauna went extinct, didn't it? That's a shame. I say a shame, not really. It's a shame for you guys. There's already enough trying to kill you in Australia without
The megafauna.
Lion koalas.
I mean, they weren't as big as a lion.
Not as big as a lion, still gives you quite a lot of scope.
Yeah.
It's true. They are pretty big. Quite big. But just as we are questioning the animals that are included, in the narrative of the book, Sam Vimes is questioning, why would you mix up a chicken and a cow? And then he's questioning the method of just wandering around looking at things, trying to find your cow. And so when you get to the next page, he's stopped reading the book. He tells young Sam, if you lose your cow, you should report this to the Watch under the Domestic and Farmyard Animals Lost Act of 1809, which is a carrot level knowledge of which law applies to this very specific situation.
But he's still pulling the face, so you've got to imagine like the funny voice he's saying this in.
Yeah.
And they've got the fiction bleeding into real life as they start for the next bit, which is good. Yeah. Like where the book is spilling over into the bedroom.
This book, this flying book with the face.
Yeah, with the face on it. Yeah.
My pick for most haunting character in this children's book.
I reckon it's in cahoots with the roly-poly guy.
Yeah, they're quite near each other, aren't they?
That book with the face has just definitely done a murder. Not like recently, but in the past it's done a murder.
Yeah.
Also, it's a crime novel.
I don't know if you noticed this. I didn't notice this until just now. But behind the book, up and to the left, the book with the face, which is just flying around with a whole bunch of other things that are flying around in the room, presumably not literally. Yeah. There's like a tiny little luggage.
It's not.
Oh my god,
It's like a little chest with teeth and a couple of feet. It doesn't have as many feet as the luggage traditionally does, but I don't know what else
it's because it's baby luggage. It gets more feet as it gets older.
Yeah, that's how babies work.
Yeah.
Again, not a parent.
Just like human babies.
Sure.
By the time we're 30, we all have 16, 17
30
feet. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Listeners have only ever seen us from the shoulders up.
I don't know how many feet we've got.
I don't know how many feet you have. It's really not any of my business. You can have as many feet as you like.
I mean, literally, you do get more feet in height, but yeah, anyway.
Not many more, to be honest. I'm quite short.
Yes. You get like 4 more if you're lucky.
I mean, if you started out as small as young Sam here, you would have still got quite a few.
Well, he varies. How much do you think he varies in length in this book? Like half a foot?
About that.
Like that.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I mean, he does seem a bit more regular baby-sized in this picture.
This picture is, I think, the most flattering picture of this strange baby.
The strange tiny man.
It might just be in conjunction with the horrible things flying around him, but it's a bit Dungeons Dimension.
I like they're all speculating about the realism of this baby design, and there's a murder book flying around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but, it's not purporting to be anything else. Like,
Yeah, that's
maybe that's why he looks like an old man, is he's been living with this flying murder book his whole life.
Yeah,
and it's just really stressed him out. So he's already lost all his hair and got wrinkles. But this is where Sam starts to really extemporize, if that's the right word, talking about how the Watch will find your cow for you, and says, if you are a stupid person, do not look for your cow yourself. Which, pretty rough. Pretty rough there, Sam. And also never try to milk a chicken. It hardly ever works, which is
good advice.
Not a joke we should think about too hard.
I'm going to say they live close enough to the unseen university that occasionally they might find a dairy producing chicken.
Yeah, and there are like udders specifically pictured on the like inside cover montagey picture thing, but just like udders removed from any particular animal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. The sort of the leaves of the book, they're quite sort of weird marble sort of swirl design
with a juicy pig butt.
Elements of the illustrations dipping in and out of it.
Yeah, there's like a mix of the simplified kids ones and then the sort of more stylized adult ones.
It's good. I really like it. It sets it up, but it is a bit spooky.
That ties into Thud, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, there's swirling waters and
when he's very tired. Yeah. I think that's a tie-in.
It does, and there is a specific scene which I will not mention because it's a spoiler towards the end of the book that actually this does. Now that I think about it, kind of remind me of too. Skip 30 seconds ahead if you don't want a Thud spoiler, but the scene I'm talking about is right near the end when Vimes is stuck underground in Coombe Valley, unable to get home to young Sam at 6 p.m, and in a berserker rage, probably fueled by the summoning dark, starts bellowing at the book and seeing hallucinations of the animals on its pages as he fights and kills a bunch of deep downer dwarfs. It's kind of messed up. And I think we'll return to it when we revisit Thud. More about that at the end of the episode. So yeah, but this is, he's gone off script and he's starting to question, why am I reading a book about farm animals to my city kid anyway? And then this is where, the other book starts, where he starts to make up the story of going through Angmorpork looking for his dad and meeting all these Discworld characters. So it's the same kind of format, but instead of saying, is this my cow? He's saying, where's my daddy? Is that my daddy? And then the first one, you'll know who it is. It goes, bugger it, Millennium-handed shrimp. Yay. It's Foul Old Ron.
Little sitcom round of applause cameo.
Yeah. And this is the joy of this book. I think particularly this section is one of my favorites because we see all these new illustrations by another illustrator of some of our favorite characters.
And it's almost, it is like a third style of art as well, isn't it? So you've just got the 3 levels here.
Yeah.
The kind of the children's illustration and then the like softened nursery one and then the
Foul Old Ron
fly surrounded man and the mangy dog.
Yeah.
There's little Gaspode. There he is.
It's grittier than the father-son drawings as well. It's like real life is even like, or like he's not really in real life when he's with his family.
Yeah, it's kind of next to it. He looks kind of maybe like blurred, slightly haloed. Yeah.
But also as you get onto like the Coffin Henry page, the book he's holding looks less like the real book and becomes like a sort of stylized.
It's starting to get a bit more cartoony. Yeah.
That rooster looks like it's seen some things.
Newborn sized.
That rooster is tired.
Gaspode also, by the way, is there.
Yes.
Looking very patchy and mangy, which is exactly how I think he should look compared to how he's often drawn, in a similar way to how I imagine the Amazing Morris compared to how he looks in the film.
Oh, I know, It's like, what a well-fed looking house cat.
Yeah. There's also such a really nice detail in that if you look through all these pages of the Ankh-Morpork characters where they're encountering, they are sort of like A Christmas Carol. No one can see them in it. They're also there and unseen, except for Gaspode is looking directly at Sam and Sam.
Oh, yeah. He is too.
Yeah, he's looking kind of worried. He's got one ear cocked even.
Yeah, he's like, what's going on here? Whereas everyone else is just sort of like, no one's around. We're living our lives. Even veterinary.
The other detail I just want to point out here before we move on from Foul Ron is he's wearing some sort of military medal. It's like a medallion of a cross. I mean, it looks a bit like, unfortunately, it looks a bit like an iron cross from my very limited knowledge of military medals, but it's clearly some sort of military decoration. And I don't think that's a detail that is in any of the books. I certainly don't remember him ever being described as a veteran.
Has it ever been described that he would have looted a jacket off a corpse, maybe?
Yeah, I feel like that's more likely than he's a military veteran.
I mean, that is very likely.
I know Nobby did.
Although it doesn't look like it goes with the coat.
No. Yeah, maybe he was.
Give him a little.
It's like a really shabby Dreiserbone is the sort of thing that he's wearing, which is do you have those? You probably don't have those in the UK. This is like a famous Australian brand of
Dreiserbone. Is that like a dry as a bone? Yeah.
No, but it's spelled like Drizabone. It's a brand.
Yes.
To keep you dry as a bone.
Yeah.
They're really good coats. My mum used to have one.
Yeah.
Bones are wet.
Oh yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
Well, inside you,
That's a good point.
When you're dead.
You can't be like, oh, when you're dead, when it's removed from its context and then it is dry.
I mean, when they're dead, they're no more wet or dry than any other object in the area, I should think.
Inherently, bones are wet.
I guess maybe you're thinking a sun-bleached bone in the desert. Is what you're meant to be thinking of.
Which is usually when you encounter bones, right? You don't usually encounter bones.
We're all encountering bones right now.
Oh, there's a spooky skeleton in each of us. How unfortunate.
The murder book knows.
It's not good. I've got a rat head on my windowsill.
Oh yeah, how is the rat head?
Still not dealt with that.
Wait, is it a whole head of a rat?
How much am I going to explain this? Yeah, so for a podcast-related project, I was drawing a rat skull.
Right.
And I asked my husband, who works on a farm, to bring me back a rat skull so I could use it as a reference. He brought me back a largely desiccated but not completely skeletonized rat head. So I put it in some water after looking at the subreddit for taxidermy to macerate, I think is the term. And I meant to have done, like, taken it out and, like, rinsed and scrubbed it. But I'm afraid of how bad it's going to smell. So it's just stayed in there for so long now. I don't want to take the next step. Taxidermy is not going to be one of those things I get fixated on. So that's
good to know.
Your husband doesn't have to get you a Christmas present now, right?
Yeah, he got you a rat's head.
Yeah, all my hopes and dreams. But the thing is, the next day, he got it for me like literally the day after, maybe 2 days afterwards. And I'd already forgotten I'd made that request. And so he was like, oh, by the way, there's a rat head and the ball of paper over there. And I was like, there's a what? Why? Oh, yeah.
You requested it.
When you put it in water, though, I was just imagining that thing that people do with like avocado pips, where they try and like grow an avocado shoot out of it. But
well, yeah, I'm thinking worst case scenario, new rat.
It's going to grow a whole rat.
Yeah. Especially since you left it there and not looking at it. So.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a paleontologist.
They grow back animals that way all the time.
No, but she would, because she was doing comparison with current animals and extinct Australian animals. She would sometimes like collect roadkill and bring it home in like a box and then bury it in the backyard so it could like decompose. And then she'd dig it up and boil it, like put it in a big pot and boil it.
See, if I'd got a bigger animal, that would have been the correct process. But the rats are very delicate and small bones, so I couldn't boil it. And if I'd buried it, we also have very weird soil here, so it might have eaten through the bone before it got cleaned.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like you should just like put a bunch of salt on it. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is paleontology chat.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
No, don't apologize.
Tell us how you clean your skulls by just using the hashtag. No.
Yeah, please do.
But don't tell me I've done it wrong because I'm not going to redo it. I was offered a fresh rat head the other day and I said, no, thank you, darling. I still haven't dealt with this one, nor am I likely to.
Did he kill a rat for you? Is that?
No, I mean, it's a farm. There are dead rats.
Okay.
Yeah.
The rats get killed, unfortunately.
Well, we'll move on.
How did this happen?
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Sorry, I know it was my fault, but I don't know how I got here.
I mean, speaking of rats, there is one on the next page with Coffin Henry.
Oh,
there
it's so cute.
Oh, yeah.
It does look quite cute.
There's a skeleton in that.
There is. It's true.
It's good eating on one of those.
Ooh.
I just got ketchup.
Continuing the theme of being an unusually visual, audio-only podcast, just to make sure you've got all the relevant details if you don't have a copy in front of you, the person Liz is about to refer to is Sam Vimes Sr.
Why has he got feathers in his hair?
That's it. I was just looking at that. There's some real life feathers that have come out of this fake book. That's what's happened there. Look at that. Or it's maybe from the bed.
Yeah, it's not clear.
But yeah, they look very deliberate. Look like they're growing out of his head.
No, I think they're just sort of jammed in there. I don't know where they come from.
I think one of the other explanations is more likely.
He's there for 3 pages, though.
Oh, hold on.
I know this illustration is from 2005, but given the last few years we've had Coffin Henry coughing his horrible sputum across
it's like a little bit green-yellow.
Yeah. I would say even before the pandemic, I would have found that unappealing.
We are all the rooster in this scene.
Yeah.
Looking on
the horrified, tired rooster.
Yeah.
Escape from our children's book.
I find that I love that in cartoon characters where they get just that line under the eye that
just a single one that means they're tired.
Yeah, give them that aged 1,000-year stare. 1,000-year stare? 1,000-yard.
1,000-page stare?
Yes.
The next double page spread, we accelerate now. We have a different character on each page. First of all, cut me own throat Dibbler.
Yeah.
I love this illustration of Dibbler. He's got dodgy salesman written all over him. Although he does look a bit younger than I imagined Dibbler to look, and a bit...
Oh, damn it.
A bit...
more charming.
Yeah, he looks... Yeah, how would you describe... I mean, he's got an earring. He looks a little bit like a pirate.
I've got...
But he's not dressed as a pirate.
The Discworld portfolio that Paul Kidby did with Pratchat. And his version of Dibbler, I think, is closer to what I was imagining. He's like a shorter, wider, slightly older. Yeah.
Yeah.
Less like a pirate, more like a East End wheeler dealer.
Yeah, like a dodgy car salesman.
Yeah.
I always pictured him a bit like Arthur Daly.
I always picture him a bit like Alan Partridge.
Oh.
I don't know why, but I feel like that kind of matches up. Like I can imagine him trying to sell me a hot dog.
What was yours, Ben? Who are you comparing him to?
Oh, Arthur Daly from Minder. Do you remember that show? Probably nobody here is as old as me, are they? Arthur Daly was this sort of archetypal, always on the lookout for a deal. Like he'd sell you stuff off the back of a truck, like very, very Dibbler style character. from the 80s. Nice. In fact, if he wasn't partially the inspiration for Dibbler, I'd be very surprised.
That and Del Boy, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. From Only Fools and Horses.
But it's still cool to see a different version of him. I like to see all everyone's different imaginings of him. It's cool that we've got, now 3 different artists you can see some of these characters in.
Yeah. The other one on this double-page spread is Detritus. Sorry, Detritus. I always say it the other way. I love him.
Yeah. He's not very rocky.
No, he's fleshy.
Yeah. This is an organic-looking being.
But cool. He's got, moss or something growing off his massive chin.
But, he looks like he has skin rather than crags.
I really like the detail of the cooling helmet.
Yeah, I love the helmet as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Cuddy. It's got the fins and the little fan. And it's a reminder of Cuddy.
Oh.
My heart breaks anew.
Which is interesting if you think about it, because this dates when Sam is imagining him from, because the helmet gives up the ghost in Jingo when they're in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
Because it gets sand caught in the mechanism. So he presumably doesn't have one anymore.
I think he probably...
He get a new one made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't give up. He was like, oh, your glasses get broken. I'm never going to get glasses again. He needs it.
That's true. And it was like a gift from a dear friend. So, yeah, maybe he took it to some artificers and got it fixed.
And he's wearing a skirt, notably.
Is this how you imagined the Peacemaker? Is this the Peacemaker?
I never really imagined it.
Close. It looks a bit better constructed than I imagined the Peacemaker.
Yeah. This feels to me like it's not the Peacemaker. This is like someone saw him holding the Peacemaker and went, you just need a really big crossbow, don't you? You can't actually use that siege weapon. And so they put a proper handle on it and a trigger rather than, however you would fire a ballista.
Yeah.
I always imagine the Peacemaker as just looking like it should be held together with duct tape. Obviously duct tape, as we know, it doesn't exist on the Discworld, but it feels like it's held together with duct tape.
Yeah. Duct tape might exist. Condoms do, so...
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah, so just same material.
I don't know what you'd make duct tape out of in Ankh-Morpork. Probably ducks.
Yeah. Probably.
Maybe it's not sticky, but stretchy and then ties off.
Yep, that'd
Because then when it condenses back in, it holds it tightly.
Nice, yeah. Like a bandage kind of thing, yeah. Okay, that's good. I'm glad we solved that.
Yeah, I'm glad we fixed that pressing issue.
Let's get to the end of the book because there's not too much left. And we did get some great questions we want to get through. We've got Lord Vetinari, again, different look.
Well, second murder book.
Yes, the book with the face is back. Trying to read whatever Lord Vetinari is writing, which seems a bit rude.
One's trying to...
There's 2 Facebooks. There's 2 Facebooks. We have the one from the previous page, chasing a sausage. And we have this
another one
that's leering at Vetinari's writing,
Yeah, and there's bits from each of the previous pages.
And then we have Waffles.
And again, the dog can see it.
Waffles is there.
Yeah, and Waffles can see the book. So dogs can see what's happening.
Oh my gosh, this is like some kind of supernatural visitation.
Yeah.
Where, the animals can see death.
It's actually happening. That means it's taken it out of the abstract. This is genuinely happening somewhere in L space.
It's like someone else pointed out before, it's like A Christmas Carol.
Oh,
Yes, the ghost of reading time, 6:00.
Yeah.
And Concerned Rooster is there looking at young Sam also to the left.
Vimes is attempting to ride a hippopotamus using a string. And the teddy bear has invented sunglasses.
And roller skates.
Well done, teddy bear.
Groovy.
Well, there's 2 teddy bears here, and this is getting a bit play school now because there's a big one, which is sort of a more sort of orangey yellow kind of brown, and then the smaller one, which is paler. And they're just reminding me, I know you have play school in the UK, we have play school in Australia as well, and they had a set of toys that they'd always play with.
Yeah.
And they had Big Ted and Little Ted.
Yeah.
And that's what these 2 remind me of. I'm sure that's not what they're based on because I don't think you had the same toys on play school in the UK, but yeah.
That's
very cute.
I like it. I do like this picture of Vetinari. It doesn't look like... When I picture in my head, I have all these different ideas. Pratchett, I think, would think of him as Alan Rickman.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
I think was sort of who he pictured. And this doesn't quite look like Alan Rickman, but there's a little bit of that DNA in there with the goatee and the slightly longer hair and the outfit's a little bit Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah. Looks more Jeremy Irons, this one.
Yeah, there's a bit of Jeremy Irons to it.
Yeah.
Who did play him in Colour of Magic?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, and Charles Dance, I think, also is often in the forefront of my mind because he did a good job in going postal as well.
There's 3 men with exceptional voices.
Yeah. You need an exceptional voice.
He's looking at us. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
He's aware we're reading him.
So here's the theory, right? The dogs can see Vimes and young Sam. Vetinari can see us, the reader.
So he's like even more out, like he's at the highest level of Inception. He can see through all of the layers.
Yeah.
There has never been a fourth wall that Vetinari couldn't see through.
Yeah.
I'd like that here. It's kind of implying that Sam is taking the piss out of himself as well, because he's doing a salute like he would for Vetinari, I'm guessing.
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's pulling the stupid face.
And I do like that the noise that Vetinari makes is, don't let me detain you. That's great. We didn't say what the other people are saying. I mean, obviously, some of them are pretty obvious, like Dibbler's saying, that's cutting my own throat.
Yeah.
Detritus says, I think, therefore I am, I think, which is apparently possibly a reference to a specific rock song. Where there's a narration where someone says, I think, therefore I am. And then there's a bit of a pause, and then they go, I think, and that might be what inspired that. I don't know if that is. We'll put that in the episode notes. But this is where it all kind of comes to a head, because Sybil comes in the room to check on them.
Oh my God, there's 4 murder books now, and one of them is scared of her.
And yes, on this page there are now 4 books.
Thank goodness Sybil's come in to put a stop to that.
Phew.
The book's much bigger that Vimes is holding in this one.
Yeah. And the chair is flying through the air. It's a bit like the music video for the UK's Eurovision song, Spaceman.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, I don't know if you've seen the music video rather than the live performance, where he's sitting in a chair on a chat show, and they ask him a question, and he just rises up into the air and like flies across the UK while people look up at him.
I'm going to take your word for that one.
It's quite good, yeah.
It's great.
Teddy's now hyper realistic also.
And little Sam is eating a sock.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And this is where Sam gets in trouble, because he's clearly not been sticking to the script, because young Sam makes the spitting noise, and then he says, "Buglet," which is, he's swearing. He's saying buglet.
Sybil has the classic sitcom wife pose, hands on hips. What are you doing, kids?
She does the tapping of the feet.
Although she's got quite an amused but cut it out kind of face, rather than a gross, stereotypical, like stern, shrew wife kind of face.
I'm glad you're having fun, but can we draw the line at swearing, please?
Yeah. And she's still wearing that great dress.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like that he's like now pretending it's the Goose story, and the Goose is sort of like in the corner in the book illustration style being like, me. Oh, I wasn't expecting this.
I thought I wasn't going to get a go today.
Oh, yeah. It's just kind of the gradual change from little kids' book to realistic, like it's a gradient over the page, isn't it? There's a...
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite lovely. This is basically a story, like the story of this evening where he goes off script is told in Thud over like a page and a half. It's just sort of shortcut. It's not all the detail that's in the actual book, but this book is telling that story again in much more detail, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But then once Sybil leaves, he still gets in his last bit, which is telling him what he should expect his dad would say if he found him, which is, I arrest you in the name of the law. And then he goes to sleep, and that's the end of the book, which is, it's very cute.
And all the toys are sleeping too.
Including the ball. The ball's got a face and it's gone to sleep.
And the books are on the shelf, so they're from the room.
Thank goodness.
And there are 6 of them.
They've still got faces on them, but they're all asleep as well. In fact, they look a bit like Blackboard from Mr. Squiggle. That's a very Australian reference. Sorry. This was a children's television program.
And then in the background...
Oh,
there's a cameo.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see that.
There is. So there were 2 frames before. I said that they were empty, and now we look again, and there's a frame there. It's not empty.
Because in the last page, the one we just went from, I was looking at it. I was like, that's a silhouette. And I was trying to work out if that was a recognizable character silhouette.
Oh yeah.
Because of the hat. And I was like, who has a hat like that? And I went to the next one. I was like,
Of course, Terry Pratchett has a hat like that.
Foreshadowing with extra shadow.
I was trying to work it out and sound smart, but no.
It's a Pratchett hat or Pratchat.
Pratchat.
I'm sorry.
Pratchat.
Good.
That's the spin-off podcast where we just we wear different hats that might have pleased Terry Pratchett.
Yeah.
Talk about.
Rank them.
Pratchat, Hatchat.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Christmas episode.
There you go.
I've got about 4 hats currently available to hand if we need to start doing this now.
Oh, wow.
You could also do Pratchat, Hatchet Chat if you wanted to get into garden implements. You got
get some axes.
Wow, that was amazing. Have we actually said in words who is in the picture, or are there listeners going, "Who is it? Who's in the picture?"
Oh yeah, no, sorry,
sorry guys, it's Terry Pratchett.
Terry Pratchett.
Yeah,
it's Terry Pratchett.
Yeah, that was tension building, I think.
For a second there, when I first saw this, I thought he had a mug of beer, but then I realised no, that's his hand on the top of his cane in the corner of the picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite a nice picture. Last year at Christmas, they did the Abominable Snow Baby. And similarly, in one of the characters' houses, there's a little portrait of Terry Pratchett in the background as well.
Oh, I missed that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll go back and watch it.
I think it's meant to be his granddad or something, which I thought was really cute.
Cute. I like
Did
that.
we talk about that on the podcast, Joanna?
No, I can't remember why we didn't. We were in the middle of something.
Okay, that's good. We've got that to save.
We haven't done it on the podcast, but we will. We'll get there. We'll get there. Well, that's it. That's the book.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any favourite bits we want to talk about before we get into some questions? Because we've got some great questions about this very silly book.
I love the dragon, I'll say. I really do love that little dragon.
It does remind me of your dog.
And I'd like to do an extra appreciation for the blurb or the author's endorsement at the beginning of, are we not all in some way looking for our cow? Because that is just a brilliant send-up of blurbs. So,
yep.
It's very good. I really also enjoyed that even in the imprint of the book, it's pretending to be from the Discworld, because it says this book was originally published in the Year of Three Horses by Rouster and Sideways, 33B Gleam Street, Ankh-Morpork, brackets, please use rear staircase, closed on Fridays. And then it says this annotated edition published, blah, 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 which I thought was very cute. You don't often see them messing with that part of the book.
Committing to the bit there.
Gleam Street also, hotbed of Ankh-Morpork publishing, because that's where the Times offices began as well.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense that the book printing press would be there as well.
Is that where, what's his name's place is, the guy who published Nanny's books?
No. Oh, maybe. I think they were closer to the Opera House.
Yeah. I'll look that one up for the episode notes. But yeah, it's a delightful book. When I got it and I read it, I kind of was expecting it to be more the actual book from the books. But I'm kind of delighted that it isn't, but it still has a bit of that in it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a missing market, though, where you could also just make the original picture book.
Oh, it's pushing it a bit, though, isn't it?
I know.
I think it would have been hard for him to make the original picture book without going off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And people would have taken it too seriously as a thing.
Now that Liz has pointed out the juicy, the pig ass, I also cannot unsee.
Yeah. Just draws your eye to it. And is that like the arse of the pig that's faces to the bottom left, or are they two different pigs? Or?
Could be.
I think it is. I think he's warping through space and time.
Utterly disrespectful.
Wait. The little chicken in the corner, bottom right, that looks like, I'm sure it does, like a cartoon I've seen, like one of the Looney Tunes ones. The weird face it's got on.
Yeah, it's got that.
I can't think what
absolutely.
it is.
It's got that style.
Yeah.
I know that, I thought the same thing, but I couldn't pick it either. The little roly-poly toy as well. Mm-hmm. There's a scene, like in the last picture, when everyone's going to sleep, he's asleep too. Or in fact, there's a couple of them, but you see the back of him and he's got these big spots on him. And I'm like, is he meant to be a ladybird or something?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. But I just thought that was a weird detail because it was not at all what I expected the back of that toy to look like.
That's the most haunting ladybird I've ever seen.
Like a disguise.
Cute. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather deal with the murder books than have that in my room.
Yeah, I respect that choice.
Fair. But we should get on to some questions.
So our first question, or questions, comes from Craig McCallum via Discord. So Craig has sent us through 3 different ones. I'm going to condense them down. Firstly, thanks for the collaboration. Much joy. First question is around the quality of the actual book. For something that could be easily forgiven for being a money-making scheme, I've always been surprised at how beautifully presented and bound it is. Secondly, how do we feel about the choice of the illustrator? And finally, what book would we have loved to read to our own children, whether they're our own or relations? So,
were you surprised that it's so nice a book?
I have not got the physical one, but I was very pleased to see the quality of the illustrations, for sure.
It doesn't really surprise me. Like, very little Discworld and Pratchett merch ever seems half-assed. It always seems like a lot of thought and effort's gone into it. I think partly because Pratchett was really controlling about all of it and had a lot of final say.
Yeah, I think that's the big factor, isn't it? Because he only ever wanted to do things with people who would take it seriously and do it right. by which he often also meant his way to read between the lines of the biography.
It's his universe, he can do what he wants with it.
But I agree with the premise that he could have gotten away with doing a cheaper version, but absolutely would not have.
Yeah,
he wouldn't do it. Yeah. And I think that's why you don't see as much Discworld stuff as there might be for other massively popular franchise things, because he was always like, no, I'm not going to do this unless it's really good.
For sure.
We kind of already touched on the illustrator a bit, but now that we've looked through all the illustrations again, how would you sum it up? I mean, I think it's really impressive that Melvin's done these, he's done these like 3 different styles of illustration as you're talking about. And 2 of them are pretty close, like the real world Sam Vimes in the nursery and the real world of Ankh-Morpork. They're pretty similar, but the one in the nursery is certainly a lot softer. And then there's the, toys coming to life stuff that is slightly different again. And then there's the storybook stuff as well. So it is quite a complicated brief.
I think he put his whole brain into it. Like, it feels like he put in above and beyond effort. Like, the skill is clearly there from the different drawing styles, but also like just the little details, like who's looking at who in the different things. And also, was it Ben who noticed the little luggage earlier? It's just little details, which again, whether that came through collaboration with Terry Pratchett or if it came through like doing extra research, or I'm not sure if he was already a fan, you could have absolutely gotten away with doing not as detailed a job, but you can feel when someone has put their whole brain into something, and it feels like that's what's happened here. So I think he was a very good choice.
Yeah, it feels like he really cared about it.
I'd be really interested to know how he ended up working with Pratchett.
Yeah.
I couldn't easily find an answer to that, and I didn't spend too long digging, but I might do at some point, see if I can find like an interview with Pratchett where he mentions it. But
yeah, if we do find that out, listener, we'll put that in our episode notes.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because, like, you mentioned earlier, he's known for sort of doing heavy metal covers, like for Iron Maiden. And we know Pratchett's into that sort of music, at least a little bit. I mean, he's more a Meatloaf fan, but I'm sure he would have listened to at least some Iron Maiden, or perhaps he had listened to a band who he'd done a cover for. So that's a possible way that they might have met, I guess.
Speaking of covers, I just found an answer to a question we had earlier, scrolling down the interview I had open. The cover, says Melvin, was a joint effort between myself and Lizzie Legzinska, possibly, art director of Transworld, who I worked closely with on this project. I was partway through the interior artwork and we needed a cover. As the book was called Where's My Cow? And there was no actual cow in the book, Lizzie suggested we put the cow on the cover, doing a bit of curtain wandering down a track towards the distant city. So I did the painting, Lizzie did the rest, and Terry Pratchett supplied the librarian's Ook Award medal. There we go. Halfway through is when the cover appeared.
Oh, wow.
And it was indeed done on Photoshop.
Oh, wow. There you go.
For the cover, certainly. On a Mac with 1.5 gig of RAM. There you go.
2005.
2005.
Different time. Different time.
It's a simpler time.
I reckon then, in that case, it was probably found through his agent. I think just as a fancy illustrator.
Yeah.
Or was perhaps already known to Transworld, but rather than speculate, I will do my actual research properly after this.
Thank you, Francine. That's very, very much appreciated.
I feel like we have similar tendencies of going, what is the answer to this very inconsequential question? Allow me to spend the next 3 days finding out.
Oh, I know that feeling. We should collaborate on some of these things sometime.
I do like the implication, though. The photorealistic cow on the front cover implies that there really is a lost cow.
Yeah. Oh, and nobody found it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wandered all the way out of the city, or it's on its way to the Big Smoke to make a name for itself.
Or did it get out of the book and slowly become more real?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm now really scared that it's going to like climb out of the book in my sleep. I'm just going to wake up and there'll be a cow.
Well, it's looking at us like veterinary did, so does it have the same level of intelligence?
Is it also aware that there is no full form?
Oof.
Oh, no.
Well, because it is breaking out of that border on the cover.
That is a cow that can't be contained.
Yeah.
The other thing, just before we move on to Craig's last question, how do we...
Where is our cow?
Yeah, no, but how do we feel about where this style sits between, say, the Paul Kidby and Josh Kirby sort of schools of illustration? I think we're all famously not necessarily great fans of the Josh Kirby style.
I feel like I've been harsher on him than I've meant to in the past, just because sometimes you look at the cover and you're like, did it need that much tit?
Yeah.
But I find them very interesting illustrations to look at. They're not maybe my aesthetic preference, but I like them and I think they were a good choice for what he was doing at the time. There were like attention catching, there were fantasy parodies, but equally Paul Kidby stuff's just beautiful. And I don't know. I'm not sure if this sits in between them so much. It's very much closer to Paul Kidby's, but it's just a different art style.
Yeah.
It's he's a different artist, yeah. He's I like it. Yeah. I do like it. I think he possibly The Haunting Child needed a little softening maybe, but I think Sam Vimes is perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm sorry about that, Craig, by the way, because I could see that you particularly liked the young Sam in this book, whereas we all found him a little bit weird and creepy. But that's okay. That's all right. He's cute. I think he's very old-fashioned baby illustration. Yeah. I think that's partly what it is. It's like not how you draw a baby now, I think.
Like those unnerving baby Jesuses in medieval painting.
That have got like just really adult babies.
Yes.
Like he's come to life after a drop of blood fell on a monk book and it just came out of the calligraphy.
Yeah. It's like you can tell somebody's described a child to this illustrator.
Hasn't seen one before, but yeah.
No, I'm being unkind.
There are a couple of the young Sam illustrations where he's kind of doing the really silly faces that I do have a soft spot for, because it does look a lot like my nephew. My nephew doesn't really look like a human child. I'm pretty sure he's, I don't know, part cricket or something.
You're sure your sister doesn't listen to these, right?
Yeah. I say all of this to my sister.
Oh, fair. Okay.
He's got so much limb.
No, I agree. The ones where they're having a nice time, like, and he's very animated and together, those are nice. But yeah, the ones where he's like the wrong size to be the baby he is, whilst somewhere else in the room it's just a bit uncanny, and I think it's just jars.
Well, I think that's it. He looks like quite a cute little kid, just not like a baby.
Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe I just have a bad idea of what 1-year-olds look like. I don't really know.
Yeah, I'm not often around 1-year-olds.
I spend a lot of time with kids, but they're usually quite a lot older than 1 year old.
And what books would you read them? The final question from Craig.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about this because he was sort of talking about the fact that when he was reading to his kids, that they wanted to hear Lemony Snicket and
Lemony Snicket's great.
The Wizard Who Shall Not Be Named. It's tricky because like a lot of the books that I really like, even though they're for younger audiences, they're still for like young adults. But I would say that Pratchett's kids' books I'd absolutely want to read, like Truckers and the Johnny books and the Tiffany Aching books and the Amazing Morris. And I know this will horrify one of our listeners who is horrified by how dark the Amazing Morris is. And that's fair enough. But a lot of the kids I know would really love that. And I think if you're prepared to have those conversations, it's a really great book to talk about some of those more difficult things and introduce some of those ideas.
I went to my friend's bookshop yesterday and she's like, do you want me to read you a book? I'm like, okay. And she pulled down this book I think it's called Death, the Duck and the Tulip. And it is what it prompts. It's like, it is very Terry Pratchett-esque because there's this duck who suddenly can see death and it's like, oh, is it my time? And then they have sort of nice time together and then it goes how you would expect it to go. But and I was like, is this for children? Because it's very dark, but it's well written and very nicely illustrated. And death was a lot like Terry Pratchett's Death. So I think that's...
Death, the Duck and the Tulip.
I think dark themes are not something we should hide from kids.
I feel like kids deal with them better than adults sometimes, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I was quite young when I read Amazing Morris. I'm like slowly getting my nephew's about 7. I'm trying to get him into Discworld, or at least Terry Pratchett now. So he loves all of the short stories. I've also tried to get him into Tolkien, but I haven't quite sold him on The Hobbit yet. We're getting there. Slowly.
That was my answer.
Diana Wynne Jones is a good one as well. Like she has some good ones in that. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm cheating a bit when I say The Hobbit because it's just I listened to that audiobook so many times when I was a kid that I know the cadence of most of the words and like the character voices and how I do it. I feel like I could give a convincing performance of The Hobbit to a child.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know if that's cheating. You've just put in a lot of time.
Getting a good grade in reading books to child is both normal and possible.
Yeah.
What's the phrasing, Joanna?
Normal and possible to achieve.
Yeah. Normal to want, impossible to achieve, yes.
Yeah. I think in terms of like really young kids' books, there are some great ones, but the classics like are still great. Like The Very Hungry Caterpillar. That'll be great forever.
Yeah. You think he can't keep eating, but he does. And that ending.
The Zoo, because it's very much like this one.
Elmer the Patchwork Elephant.
Rainbow Fish.
The other classic one I love is a Sesame Street one, The Monster at the End of This Book. And if you don't know it, even as an adult, I recommend you look it up because it is one of the cutest, most wholesome books ever that still has this amazing tension, and it's beautiful. I won't say any more if you haven't read it. I would so love reading that to kids. I think that would be the best. That's for kids a bit older than young Sam. But yeah, it's a gorgeous book. I love it.
What's that patchwork elephant called?
Elma the patchwork elephant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember all these at the moment because the other child in my life that I'm sort of related to has just turned 1 and Christmas is coming. So he's getting books.
Oh yeah. Cute.
And did you say, how old's the other one?
7. So he's obsessed with Roald Dahl right now, and then he's reading all the Terry Pratchett short stories.
Oh.
So I feel like he's being raised well.
Another good series for someone around 7 would be the Real Pigeons books by Andrew MacDonald. They're heavily illustrated, so they're almost like, they're not quite a comic book, but they've got a bit less text than your average book of their length. So they're good for that age. It's still sort of getting into that. But they're just this gang of weird pigeons who go on adventures and like solve crimes and stuff. And Andrew's also written a book, actually, like a middle grade book called Son of Death about the Grim Reaper family.
Nice.
And it's about the son in the family having to take over the family business. So it's a very Pratchett idea. So those would also be good. I'd read those to kids as well.
Cool.
All right. So our next question comes from Damien Smith via Twitter. I just really want to hear your best hippopotamus noises. So it's asking for a hippo noise competition.
Okay.
Yeah. Or in all caps, he said, hippo noise competition.
Okay.
Do we all want to, are we all ready to commit to this? Will we all do it?
Absolutely.
Yes,
I'm happy to go
but
first.
I don't want to go first.
Yeah.
I'll read the whole passage so that the noise can be in context, and you can just do the noise if you want. But it goes, where's my cow? Is that my cow? It goes, hurrah! It is a hippopotamus. That's not my cow. I feel like I've done more as Sam Vimes doing that. No, actually, that's not true. Sam Vimes will put much more into it than that.
That's how he gets his stress out from the day.
It's probably not my best hippopotamus, but that's what I'll go with. Who's going to go next?
All right. Where's my cow? Is that my cow? It goes, ah! Ah! It is a hippopotamus. Maybe. That's not my cow. I don't know. I watched a video of hippos earlier and everything. I just can't remember what they sound like now.
Oh, wow.
I tried to prepare.
It feels to me like the hippo has seen you coming and is like, ah, Jesus.
Well, it was like an angry hippo video I watched. They were shouting at each other.
So you should have watched a more confused hippo video to prepare.
Yeah.
Who's going to go next?
I can go next.
Yeah.
Where's my cow? Is that my cow? It goes. It was very soft. My water is not full enough.
Smart.
But for our listeners, I just blew bubbles into water because that's how.
Some live Foley there.
Beautiful.
I think it will come out. I think we'll hear that.
It's all over my face.
You're devoted.
That's commitment to the bit. I love it. It's my turn. Where's my cow? Is that my cow? It goes, hurrah. It is a hippopotamus. That is not my cow.
Get out. Get out.
That's how it's spelled.
For reference, listener, if you have not seen either Thud or this book, it's spelled HRUUUGH.
Sorry, it should have been her. There you go.
Hru. But I don't know. Is that not a very posh hippopotamus's name? This is Hru.
Yeah,
the hippopotamus
of the Somerset Cruise.
There's Hru and his brother Hrupert.
Well, Damien, I hope we've satisfied your desire.
Well, I did it in the way that I would read it to a child, so I think we all did.
I like to scare children.
I try not to do all my noises sarcastically when I read to children. I don't often read to children.
That's fair.
Goes cluck, cluck.
Dick.
Goes boom.
We should power through some more of these questions before we run out of time.
Sorry, yeah.
No, but I was kind of like, what noise does it make, though? What noise do a fox make?
We'll find a video of an actual hippopotamus noise. I've done no research. I wanted to just go in cold.
And then we'll superimpose all of our noises across the top.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes. That's a nice little...
Oh, we will. When you say we...
No, sorry.
Good. I'll try and do that.
No, as in, you don't actually have to do that. The joke is enough. Is it? I don't know.
No, I want to do it now.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so next questions come from Jing via Discord. If other Discord characters were to make up their own version of a children's book, what would they be about? And follow-up questions, Can you come up with some other taglines that Discworld publishers can use to sell the book if you were to write a review for the Ankh-Morpork Times? And then one final one specifically for Joanna. Does talking to Liz improve your tolerance threshold for puns/fast pun making people? Or has it worsened? So let's start with the last one.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely okay
you
with
would say
this level of punning. No, it's fine as long as someone doesn't try and get into a pun off with me. Then I get very upset and have to go under the table.
Yes, I hate those.
Which is fine. Like the microphone reaches down there.
Which means you can still do it. All right.
Okay.
Who else would make a children's book? I mean, I feel
Nanny Ogg.
But it would not be safe for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no children should read Nanny Oggs.
No.
What kind of noises would there be in it?
I think children would love it, though. In fact, children would be the only people it would be safe for because they wouldn't understand what it was about. And then as adults, they'd think back and go, what did I read?
Nanny Ogg and the Benanana surprise.
Oh, very good.
But maybe she'd try to do it like in a child-friendly way, but everyone knows Nanny Oggs. They'd like read innuendo into it, and she'd be like, no, sometimes a banana's just a banana. Not when it's you, it ain't, Geither, kind of thing, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What container should I put my banana in?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Do you think Dibbler would sell a children's book?
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
He would do a cheap one, but yeah.
It'll be a cheap one. It'll fall apart when you pick it up.
Yeah.
And I reckon it'd be about food. He'd do an alphabet book and it'd be just all pictures of things that he sells.
Yeah, it'd be like a marketing strategy, a long term.
Like when he tried to do subliminal messaging, but just like...
Yeah. But like, long term stuff. Like how companies used to put adverts in the middle of children's shows, you know?
Yeah.
Or indeed in the middle of Pratchett's books in Germany.
Yes. For soup.
Yeah.
Somehow want some noodles. I don't know.
Yeah.
Every time you mention that, it does make me want noodles.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
It's worked across borders. It's worked across decades. And now I'm hungry again. Like a caterpillar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. What about a tagline? What would you, how would you sort of blurb this book?
I think I'd try and sell it as kind of a searing insight into the secret life of the commander of the watch, but would be arrested for that.
Actually, here's a are the ones on the back, are they for the in-universe version of the book?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or are they for this version of the book?
In-universe, because they're pictured in the book.
Yeah.
This is an in-universe version. It's just the annotated version.
Oh, right.
But I think it's for the original one, yeah.
Does that mean Terry Pratchett exists in the Discworld as a writer of children's books?
Yes, and a postman and a astro-chelinaut researcher.
An astro-chelinaut guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and a toy maker. Yeah. Brilliant.
Just a man about town.
A lot of jobs, that man. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So next question comes from Joel Molan via Discord. Did you ever learn a picture book word perfect before you could read? And if so, what was it?
Not that I recall.
Ooh.
I did.
Oh, you did?
It was Each Peach Pear Plum, and I can still remember all of it.
Whoa.
I could probably learn quantum physics if I didn't have shit like this taking up room in my brain, but no, I have all of Each Peach Pear Plum.
Tell yourself that. That's fine, yeah.
That's why I don't know.
I'm sure that's the same amount of brain space.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I did. I think I've lost all of the picture book stuff that I would have remembered because when I was way too young to understand it, like about 8 or 9, I started reading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and committed huge swathes of that to memory instead. So I can still do whole entries from the first book off the top of my head,
Cool.
Which is a useless use of brain space.
Disagree.
But yeah, that's where my memory bank has gone.
That's a much more sensible use of brain space.
I know. I think that's the kind of thing that warps your brain in the right direction.
Yeah, that makes your brain the right shape.
We can only hope so.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't really remember much from being that young, so maybe.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't remember my parents reading me books as a kid. Most of my picture book memories are from school, so...
Yeah. And TV. Do you remember Words and Pictures? Was that still a thing? Maybe not. Again, showing my age. But this was a BBC TV show where they would just have someone reading a picture book.
Oh.
And they also had this little weirdly animated character, this little blobby blue man who would also read the books. And it was great. And I remember that. We used to watch that when I was in like kindergarten, so just before the start of primary school.
That's been like a follow-on from Jackanory or whatever it was called. There used to be like the famous old-fashioned one. Like there's a video of David Bowie doing it, isn't there? But, yeah.
But this one was like picture books, and they'd show you the words because you were supposed to read along with them.
Oh, that's
read.
Yeah.
That's cute.
That's nice.
No. But my mum taught me songs instead, I think, like songs with stories in them. So, yeah, I don't know.
I definitely got read to a lot. I remember my dad trying to teach me socialist theory through the Roald Dahl book, The Foxes, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this is actually a good allegory for, the workers rising up against the oppressive class. I'm like, I'm 5, but fine, go on. Go off.
That feeds in very nicely to the next question, which comes from Sven via Discord. Which other children's book do you also regard as a must-read as an adult?
It does feed in nicely, because I would say Roald Dahl, actually.
A lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of his stuff is very good.
He's just such a good storyteller.
I would say, again, the monster at the end of this book.
Oh, yeah.
Read it. It's great. I'm going to use my editorial privilege to insert a serious answer. I think the children's book you should read as an adult, particularly if you've never read it as a child, is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Don't just read it for yourself, buy it for the children in your life as well. It is one of the greatest books ever written.
I want to go with the Redwall books by Brian Jacques, because they're not quite fantasy books, although they're talking mice, but they were definitely like an intro to fantasy for me before I read The Hobbit and stuff. I feel like they're a big reason I read lots of fantasy and things now.
Are they a must-read as an adult, though?
Yeah, I think they're really good. Yeah. They tell a lot of interesting stories about war and recovering from it, and
I will give them another read.
Things.
That's cool.
I'm scared to start like rereading all of them. I reread a couple of them and then was like, if I start really reading all of these, there's a lot. I'm going to buy them all. I don't need to do that.
And then do a podcast. And, it's going to be
it's your next podcast, the Redwall podcast.
Absolutely not. Because I remember getting so hungry reading those books.
Well, you want to eat the animals? What?
No, they have like really lovely depictions.
That's why I turned vegetarian out the guilt.
Oh, right. They have big feasts. Okay, phew. I was worried there.
Yeah. And I just know that an acorn's not going to taste as good as it's described, but
probably not.
All right. So our final question comes from AH7689 via Discord. Not sure if anyone noticed this, but the whereabouts of the cow is still unknown. If Vimes continued his Ankh-Morpork version, where would he eventually find the cow? And where would there be clues? And so there's a follow-up comment from Sally Star. I like that this question is basically just, where is my cow?
Yes.
Yeah. Imagining this question is coming out of the Discworld, like in a roundabout way, going, yeah, but.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like we kind of ruined this by deciding that we know where the cow is. It's on the cover. But in the Ankh-Morpork version of the story, where he's looking for a cow, except in the Ankh-Morpork version, he's abandoned the search for the cow. He's looking for his dad.
Yeah.
But where would you find a cow?
I think I came up with like a headcanon for this myself. Vimes would be, because in this case, young Sam is asking for the cow.
Yeah.
And Vimes is going out to find the cow because he is a good father and wants to fulfill the whim of his child. But he's following some clues like hoof prints, whatever, but really fully expecting to find the cow in like the output of an abattoir because it's Ankh-Morpork. However, because this is a nice B plot for young Sam and not like a moral lesson, Nobby and Colin would in fact have it in the break room at the watch house because Nobby saw it, felt a strange affinity and rescued it.
Yeah, perfect. I'm on board. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the best headcanon.
And maybe it becomes a member of the watch? Maybe?
Probably.
Yeah, becomes a member of the watch or like goes to live with the dragons in the sanctuary. One of the two.
They've got stables at least one of the watch houses.
So his book, Where's My Cow? Downstairs with our dragons.
Yeah.
It's very short. But I love it.
Ends up with him at home.
This would be a better species for a Constable Cuddy, surely.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm very proud of that.
Chewing the
well done, Francine.
Yeah, okay, good. Right. Yeah.
Very good.
Sorry.
Very
yeah.
good.
I was just thinking to myself, do cows chew? No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, you're all right.
Overthink it.
You're onto it. I feel like some of the dwarfs might nickname it Cuddy, and then if Detritus finds out, he'd be very upset.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now I'm upset because I miss Cuddy.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, I'm not really upset. I'm sad. Francine's version of events is actually very close to an official one. Terry received a letter from a child who was worried about the cow and gave some official answers. You'll find a link to those in our episode notes. But the short version, Nobby found it and it's living at the watch house. But that kind of brings us to the end. Thank you everyone who's sending questions, and thank you, Joe and Francine, for joining us. What a fun, weird book to collaborate with you about.
Yeah. I like how many tangents we can go off on, even on a 17-page book about a cow. That's good.
And there were more. We could have done more.
Yeah.
But we've got to call it somewhere.
I think we've broken our tangent to page record.
Yeah.
I'm going to work this out mathematically now.
Oh, no, don't. That's going to be upsetting.
Yeah. I'll put it on a big chart. We'll figure that out. If people want to find out more, I mean, obviously you're here because because we like you and you're very fun, but you also have your own podcast, as we mentioned, The Truth Shall Make You Fret. Now, what book is where are you up to now as we record this in sort of late November 2022? What's next for you?
We're going to start The Amazing Morris in December.
Yeah. That comes out next week.
One of my absolute favorites.
I can't wait to talk about it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, Joe's been looking forward to this for like 3 years.
Yeah. Now you've timed this to tie in to the film, haven't you? It's very clever of you.
I guessed it was coming out in December back in January, and I was right.
Yep.
I think we're at the stage where we still don't know when we'll be able to see it in Australia yet. Because it's not quite announced where it's going to be streaming outside of the UK. But fingers crossed. While we still don't know where and when it'll be streaming in Australia, The Amazing Maurice does have a cinema release date here, the 12th of January 2023. And if you're really quick and listen to this episode immediately after it comes out, you might be able to get to a preview screening in Adelaide, which is raising funds for the Australian Discworld Convention on the 10th of December. Put the details in our episode notes. Can't wait to hear what you think about the book. If people want to find out more about your podcast, where should they go to find you?
All good podcast suppliers, I would say.
Find us wherever you get your podcasts. We're also at Make Ye Fret Pod on Twitter while Twitter still exists.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say,
if Twitter still exists by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it will. But if it doesn't, where else should they go?
Got TikTok, got a Reddit, got a Tumblr.
We have a TikTok.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're very modern.
If you just search The Truth Shall Make You Fret, we're a few of the Google responses now, which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
We're semi-ubiquitous.
We'll link to your website, etc., in our episode notes as well.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, we have a website.
thetruthshallmakeyefret.com.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's a good one. Grand. That's it. If you've enjoyed this, please let us know. And we'd like to thank especially our subscribers for this episode because we got so many of our good questions from them, but also some listeners on Twitter and elsewhere. Thank you. We always enjoy doing these sort of weirder, sillier spin-off books. It's a good time. And we'll be back in January, Liz, for Pratchat 63.
63. Oh my God.
I know. It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's been a long time that we've been doing this. But for January, we've decided to extend our Thud trilogy into a tetralogy. Yes, we are going to be reading a short story, a collegiate casting out of devilish devices, starring our own favourite accountant, Mr. A.E. Pesimal. And joining us again will be Matt Roden, because we're also going to try and get to some more of those Thud questions that you sent in that were so good. Don't send us any more for Thud, but if you have got questions about a collegiate casting out of devilish devices, Pratchat63 is the hashtag, if there is still such a thing as a hashtag.
Well, we can use them on Instagram. It's okay.
That's true. You can use them on Instagram, or you just send us an email, chat@pratchatpodcast.com, or wherever else you can find us. And you can subscribe to help support the podcast, which means you can get on our Discord. But until next time, remember, the real cow was the friends you made along the way. You've been listening to Pratchat, the monthly Terry Pratchett Book Club podcast with Pratchatters Elizabeth Flux, Ben McKenzie, that's me, and guests Joanna Hagan and Francine Carrel. Pratchat is produced and edited by me, with music by David Ashton of Sample and Hold Studios. You can find us on Twitter, for now, Instagram and Facebook at Pratchat Podcast, and listen to past episodes and support production of new ones via pratchatpodcast.com. Join the conversation for this episode using the hashtag Pratchat62.
Pratchat is brought to you by Splendid Chaps Productions. We make entertainment for your ears, like the Doctor Who podcast Splendid Chaps and time travel comedy series Night Terrace. To find out more, visit splendidchaps.com.
Beautiful.
I think that was all right.
That was an excellent ending.
Oh, that was so fun.
Wonderful.